All right, so example 5. Find all values of theta if theta is in the interval 0 to 360 and sine is equal to negative root 3 over 2. What, Miss Sabia, I already don't understand. What does this interval business mean? Do you know what it means when you have a closed bracket and then a parenthesis over here? Are you familiar with this notation? No. Okay. So let me explain. They want you to find, when you have a closed bracket here, that I want to include 0. So in other words, I want to find a number, a value for theta that can be 0, but it can also be bigger than 0. It could be anything from 0 or greater up until 360. But since this is curved, it means don't include 360.
So we get to choose a number. So between 0 and 350.
Right, 0.999999. Yeah. So in other words, which makes sense because aren't 0 and 360 the same? Right? They're the same. 0 degrees and 360 degrees is the same thing. So I wouldn't want to give both answers twice. So they're saying if 0 works, give me 0, but don't give me 360. And if there's any other values that work in between 0 and 360, give me those also. That's basically what this is saying. So when you see the notation like this, a square bracket indicates I can include that number. A curved parenthesis like this means up until that point, but it should be less than that number. So this is greater than or equal to, this is less than, essentially. Okay?
So we're using 0.
If 0 ends up working, I want to find all the values of theta in there that have a sign of negative root 3 over 2. Now hold on, Miss Sabia, how in the world am I supposed to know that? Well, why don't we look at our little chartsy poo and see who has a sign of regular 3 over 2, root 3 over 2. Oh, I see.
Oh my God, it's 60.
Yeah, 60 has a sign of positive root 3 over 2, right? You see this? But I don't want positive, I want negative. So basically, I'm looking for all the angles that have 60 as their reference angle.
Yeah.
So who would have 60 as a reference angle?
Let's just go back.
Well, it's not going to be 60 itself, right? Because that's positive, so that's out.
Was 780 one of them?
And then if I had 60 degrees here, what would this angle be?
140. 60.
120. 120. Is sine going to be negative over here?
Yes.
No. So that one's going to have also a positive sign. So I'm not going to use that one either. I would have someone, if this were 60, then this whole angle, what would this whole angle be?
240.
Yeah, because it would be 180 plus 60 more. That would have a reference angle of 60. And wouldn't it be negative in that case, once I got to here? Yes. So what did we say that angle was? 240. So 240 is one of them. Let's see if there's another one. I have to go into my fourth quadrant also. So if I had a fourth quadrant angle who had a reference angle of 60, not 330, but remember, you could think of it as negative 60. It's the same thing as negative 60 in positive land. A negative 60, what'd you say? 300, right, 300. So 300 would also have a negative sign. So that's it. So those are all the values between greater than or equal to 0, but less than 360 that would have a sign of negative root 3 over 2. Does that make sense? So let's try one more. Why not?
Wait, so those are our answers?
Yeah, those are your two answers.
Oh,
I know there's not one on here, but I'll just make one up. So let's do the same thing. So in between 0 and 360, but let's do a, who would have a cosine of negative 1/2? cosine of theta equals -1/2. So find me everybody between 0 and 360 that would have a cosine of -1/2. Oh, shoot. Well, it's not that because your sign's different. But I did 60 again. I should have picked a different one. Whatever. Maybe that'll be less work for you. What might be helpful, if cosine's going to be negative, what two quadrants are you going to be working with? All students take calc. Where will cosine be negative in which two quadrants? Yes, yeah, in 2 and 3. So I don't have to worry about them over here. So I just need to figure out, if you looked on your chart, cosine of 1/2 belongs to 60. So if I knew that this were a 60-degree angle, that means that this angle would be 120, so that's one of my answers. And the other one would have the 60-degree angle here, which means it would be from here all the way to here. And that's the 240. See how that works? So it might be helpful just to narrow it down to what two quadrants you even have to worry about based on the sign, and then just figure out what angles match.
Yes.
Yay!